Good afternoon, everyone. This is Ciro Lavadens. I am from Universidad Austral, Rosario site in Argentina. Some of the pictures you are watching at this moment belong to our main campus, which is located in the city of Pilar, 50 kilometers away from Buenos Aires. As you can see in this second slide, Argentina is a very big country and a very diverse country, and students quite often try to conquer the whole place in one trip, and that is not even possible for us in Argentina. So if you are planning to come to Argentina to study with us for 4 weeks and then later to visit some of our wonderful landscapes or areas, like if we are going to the United States, which is also a vast country and a very diverse country, you must make sure that you choose something that may interest you. Here you can very quickly see from left to right and from up to down of the screen, the salt lakes and the mountains in the northwest near Bolivia and Peru, the vineyards and the Aconcagua Mountains in Mendoza area, which is not far from Rosario, and also the landscapes that are very similar to Switzerland in Patagonia, in Bariloche, and at the very bottom, you can see that there is a glacier that is very accessible for everyone in the city of El Calafate. On the right, at the top, you can see one of the wonders of the world, which are Iguazu Falls, which I strongly recommend you to visit because they are very, very unique everywhere. The flatlands located in the province of Corrientes and Entre Rios, where you have diverse fauna in the location, which is not a surprise for you because we have alligators, capybaras, and all the like. Then in the southern part, the southern coast of Argentina, facing the Atlantic, in the months of June and July, you can see whales and you can see penguins. They are very near the cities over there. And at the bottom, you may see some pictures of Ushuaia, which is the southern city in the world. People in Argentina is predominantly Caucasian. Unfortunately, natives or original people in Argentina did not survive the immigration of lots of people from the 16th to the 20th century. The massive immigration took place in the late 19th century and early 20th century when our economy worked like a Swiss clock. Everything was perfect at that time. And the country was among the 5 most important economies in the world. Argentine identity is a blend of different ethnic and cultural backgrounds, but they predominantly belong to Italian and Spanish backgrounds. In the area of Argentina, or Rosario, sorry, in particular, our background is mainly and predominantly Italian. In Buenos Aires, which is the biggest city we have here in Argentina, and is very disproportionate city compared to the rest of the country because they have 1/3 of the population, we have porteños or city people from Buenos Aires. Porteños are very nostalgic. They can be cynical. It's the place where tango is most popular, which is a very interesting dance to learn. Here in Rosario, you will have opportunities to learn how to dance tango, which is very, very fun for everyone. And it is a nostalgic scenario for tango because you always long for someone who left away or traveled abroad. The country has no history of religious or racial conflicts. We are very laid-back people. The diversity of origins is part of the local identity, and this is a given fact. I mean, we understand that sometimes we can share food or traditions from Eastern Europe, Northern Europe, some parts of Latin America in general, and of course, Italy, Germany, France, UK, and Spain. One of the anecdotes we have during the formation of our country is that in 1920, there were more foreigners than locals. I mean, immigrants were arriving in such a big number that at one point, 60% of the population was not born in Argentina. As a general feature, Argentinians are welcoming and friendly people, and it is more evidently so in provinces. In the provinces, people are very laid back. They are very open, and they are very curious about visitors, and they always try to interact with them and to show our traditions. Among them, mate, sipping mate is something that is very popular among our students too. Family and friends occupy a central place in people's lives. Everything goes around extended families, and during the weekends, they pay a lot of attention or they organize their activities according to family gatherings. All in all, I can summarize that an Argentine is like an Italian who speaks Spanish. Think he's French. I mean, we pay a lot of attention to style and tradition and fashion. I would secretly like to be British because we perceive that English-speaking countries are the most successful in the 20th and 21st century. In particular, regarding Austral University and the Ciencias Empresariales School, located here in Rosario, we have three campuses. The first one that I showed you is the biggest one in the city of Pilar. The second one that is devoted to PhD and master degree programs is located in downtown Buenos Aires. And the third one is located in Rosario. Rosario is a big city by our standards, 1.5 million people in the city itself, and gathering all the neighboring locations or small towns, we can reach almost 2 million people. It's a thriving city, key of Argentina's economy, because we have one of the main ports that especially exports soya beans and soya oil to most countries in the world, and these days, especially to China. The School of Management offers several programs, including an MBA in agribusiness and doing business in Latin America as a summer program. Rosario itself is a city by the Paraná River. Paraná River is one of the biggest rivers in the world. In South America, it's second to the Amazon River. In the Rosario area, the delta of the river starts, even though the sea or the arrival of the river to the sea is something like 400 kilometers or 300 miles away from the city of Rosario. You can see here that we have beaches that can be used almost all year long because our winter is very, very mild. The city is by the river. It's only one bank of the rivers. We can see that people also like dancing tango in the streets. There are a lot of fairs, a lot of gatherings, especially during the weekends. And the river itself has a highway, I mean, which ships can go through almost all year long. Regarding the program itself, the National Summer School in Argentina refers to doing business in Latin America, understanding Latin American ways of doing business, paying attention to the differences in the understanding of concepts that are very common all over the world, like efficiency, deals, etc. We will start on June the 24th on Monday, and it will last for 4 weeks. The language of instructions will be English, and we will provide you material for reading, for preparing presentations, for interacting with the students from other locations that will visit us. Successful completion of the least 2 years of undergraduate level studies is a prerequisite for this course, in which we assume that you have some previous knowledge of marketing and economics. And we also pay a lot of attention to providing a lot of assistance and information regarding agribusiness in particular. The main contents, the program itself is divided into two different courses or two different areas. One most focused in economics, in which the instructors will focus on the variety of issues regarding Latin America development, the crisis and the cycles in which Latin America suffered a lot of inflation, suffered the economic and political difficulties of gathering different opinions of different groups of people that were controversial in itself. Topic range from long-term economic and institutional determinants of productivity and inequality to short-term episodes of inflation. We are suffering now a level of inflation of around 12% every month. And we understand that in December, when our administration changes, That will change a lot, will stabilize and help us to start planning for the long range. One of the particularities of our economy is that we always plan for the short range or short term because we never know what is going to happen. We are planning also to do company visits in which you will firsthand understand the importance of the implementation of industrialization of our agricultural produce. And there will be a particular workshop in agrobusiness in which you will understand also the importance of adding value to the crops and all the cattle that we can grow very easily, like in the Midwest in the United States, here in Argentina. The second course, in which I will be responsible for, will focus on issues related to international trade transactions around Latin America, which is very, very difficult to implement. The infrastructure is mainly focused on doing business with other continents and lately, especially with China. But we will analyze the role of multilateral organizations in the development of international trade, especially the World Trade Organizations and the different areas of the United Nations, like the World Bank and the IMF. IMF is a very sensitive organization here in Latin America because we've been borrowing very heavily money in order to upgrade our infrastructure and to cover years of drought that we suffered since COVID-19. We will also explore Latin American culture, which is very, very diverse. People that come for the first time to Latin America will discover that there are very few points in contact or points of contact between Argentinians from central areas, Argentinians from the north, Peruvians, Chileans, Brazilians, or people from Colombia or Venezuela. We also help you to develop skills to understand the complexities of the international scenario. There are two wars taking place these days in the world, and that is something that will affect every single country, and countries like Argentina in particular. And the ability we have in Argentina to manage projects, because we keep managing projects and developing industries and services in very volatile markets in which all the different rules vary overnight. We also give you some basic knowledge about the instruments that are used in international trade transactions and how these documents help people to get final completion of the transaction by receiving the product or receiving the financial resources that are involved in that transactions. We also attempt to motivate students to develop marketing strategies in Latin America as if they were Latin Americans. Fortunately, in this course, we can guarantee that there will be local students enrolled, so you can interact with them and perceive the different aspects of doing business in a very, very different environment compared to the American environment. And in this course, we will also make sure that you get some survival Spanish classes that will not focus on grammar or the syntaxes of the language, but on day-to-day expressions, especially Rosario expressions, that are also vanished with the or affected by the strong immigration from Italy. So our Spanish, or the way we speak Spanish here in South America and in Rosario area in particular, borrows a lot of expressions that come from Italian language. And here you can read about some testimonies from former year students. This program has been running with students from UNF since 2001, and some students come from other universities from the United States, from Texas in particular, from Illinois, from France, also French students and Latin American students came to practice their English in Rosario. They, in particular, Wilson loved the people, architecture, the way the language was spoken. She was a Spanish speaker from Texas, but she was surprised to understand or to learn about our particular expressions. And she also said that Rosario is beautiful with beautiful people. Thanks, Wilson. And Jeremy says that he had an amazing experience from living as a local. We encourage you to merge with locals, to go to local places. We do not organize things in particular or like a bubble for our international students, but we encourage students with bodies to explore and to immerse in our culture as if they were local. He says that everybody was very welcoming and helpful to our needs. In particular, Jeremy, I remember one anecdote was that he lost his phone, his cell phone, on a taxi, and the taxi driver, after a couple of hours when he realized that that phone was in his unit, came to the school and gave it back to Jeremy. Rather than being an exchange student, I felt more like a family member. That is something we feel we very encourage students to do. I mean, to feel like you are visiting friends, you are visiting family, and you are part of the school and part of the experience itself, not just a number. If anyone has the opportunity to go to a summer abroad program, I would say Argentina would be the place. Argentina, Rosario in particular, come and organize your time here. Transportation is not as smooth as you can set up in the States. Flying, we are now developing low-cost airlines, but even though it can be expensive if you plan that last minute. If you organize yourself before coming, and I volunteer from now to help you make your choices or to understand what the different things you can do in different locations, you can get great deals. And for, let's say, visiting Iguazu Falls for less than $200 during 4 or 5 days. But if you do it last minute, that would cost $1,000, for instance. So as you see, the program itself is very, very interesting. It's very complete. We try to give you the impression that everything is at your service, that you will be welcome as family members, and I hope you are convinced and you enroll, and see you next June.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
I actually have one question to add on, and
Sure.
a lot of students have been asking if the language barrier would be a problem. Do you think they'll be just fine going around Argentina, or with your Spanish basic class, they'll be just good to go?
Yes, people in general are very, very patient. I mean, and there are very few places that are self-serve, like in the States, or corner stores, etc. But whenever you go to these small shops or to even to a supermarket, everybody tries to, when they discover you are English speakers, I mean, they try to practice their poor English, and sign, it works a lot. So students didn't have a problem about that. No,
Okay.
it's not a big issue, the language barrier.
Okay.
And of course, from day one, I mean, we are very talkative. I mean, they were immersed in a lot of conversations with people, and they will learn the basic vocabulary to manage themselves on a daily basis.
Okay, perfect. And then another question that I've been hearing like a lot, and people always ask me is, where would they stay? Would they stay at a dorm? Would they stay at a hotel? How would that work?
No, well, there is one residence that may offer some spaces, but they have rules. Sometimes they are very, a bit strict rules. Our suggestion, and something that has been working very, very nicely in the last years, is to rely on Airbnb, which is very, very popular here in Rosario. And we have some connections with Airbnb people that will provide special deals for students. And
Okay.
most of the locations are walking distance from the school.
Perfect, perfect. That's good to know. And also about, I think that's the last question I have is about the classes, because I think that's important. Are classes normally Monday through Friday, and then they have Saturday and Sunday off?
No, we try to organize classes from Monday to Thursday in order for them to have always Friday, Saturday, and Sunday off, because
Perfect.
we know that they want to discover different locations, and as we do not have quick connections, airplanes are very expensive and rare. I mean, there are not a lot of frequencies. I mean, most of the time you have to travel by bus or by train, and that is slow. So we organize everything from Monday to Thursdays.
Okay, perfect. Well, good to know. I think those were my questions for right now. And you already know, I know that you said that if students do have questions that they can feel free to email you. So
Yes, make sure that they feel free to email us, and also if they wish, we can start setting up some Zooms in order to understand all the different topics and to be able to clear their doubts and their expectations.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much, Ciro. I appreciate.
Thank you, Monique, for the opportunity to contact and to reach the students.